Hey y'all, welcome. My name is Melissa, and my page is Melissa's Vintage Finds. Over on my business page, we have been celebrating a 7-day fun vintage themed week. Today is our hashtag Wednesday workshop behind the scenes. So I thought I'd take you along as we print on tea bags today. Yes, that is what we're going to print on is tea bags. I have printed on several things with my crafting. One of them being muslin fabric. But my latest craze is tea bag upcycle. So back to our themed week over on my page. If you're not a follower of my vintage page, I would encourage you to go follow me. Monday we had Vintage Monday What Is It game. Yesterday was Tool Shed Tuesday, where I had a farm gear flashback, an old piece of farm gear flashback. Today, of course, is Workshop Wednesday behind the scenes, so you're here with me for that one, and I thank you for that. Tomorrow is going to be Throwback Thursday, a before and after. Friday is Farmstead Friday, Life on the Land. And you hear me say vintage, Melissa's Vintage Finds, but what I've done is I have piggybacked off of my Facebook page and created a YouTube channel because I have a love for the land and farm life on our 5 acres. So my YouTube channel, I piggybacked off of Melissa's Vintage Finds, and I'm calling it Vintage Finds and Farm Life. I would also encourage you to become one of my subscribers so that I can take you with me as I'm out on the farm doing our daily duties and just having some fun. And then, of course, back to the themes. Saturday is going to be Saturday Showcase, where we feature a vintage find. And then Sunday will be Sunday Stories, Heart, and History. So today, the images, let me show you the images that we're going to print onto tea bags. I have 6 images in my fall collection. Today we're gonna print 3 of those 6 images. But let me show you those images. Here's the corn. This is one of the 6 images in my fall collection, and we'll be working on that one today. The pumpkin is another in the fall collection, and the sunflower, which I think is one of my favorites, we will be printing this one today. And then the other 3 in my Collection 1 series is the scarecrow. Don't you just love the old black scarecrow? And then the pear is also in that fall collection. And an apple attached to a branch with leaves. So those are the 6 images that are in my fall collection of tea bag. Okay, this is what the tea bag looks like. See all that goodness with those different colors that the stains leave? So let me show you. This is let me just fold this so you can see how these look when it's in the form of the actual bag with the tea. Okay. So there's your tea bag. Okay, and I just folded it with the creases of the bag. These are held together by a staple. Of course, you've got the staple and then you have the string. The staple is very easy to remove. What I do is just kind of bend the bag like this and just grab the corner of the staple and pull it right on out. If you tear the bag taking the staple out, it's really no big deal. All you've got to do is just print your image around the tea bag, or you can just cut that end of the tea bag off. But anyway, so this is the bag. What I do when I brew my tea, after I've brewed my tea, I just throw the tea bags off to a corner shelf or something and give them a few days to dry out. And once the paper dries, this is what it looks like. See all that goodness? This is the other piece of tea bag we're going to be working with. And then here is the other one. So you can see the staining looks a little different with the three of them. But it makes for a wonderful aged vintage look. Okay, let me show you. Here's what I can show you. So you see these edges here along the bag where it was folded? What you've got to be careful of when you put when you print your image onto the bag, you want to stay within the boundaries, because if you take your image all the way to that edge where it folds, then you're going to risk part of your image tearing off, because these edges are just basically loose and they tear. So I'm going to go ahead and just tear the ends off. You can leave them on or you can tear them off. Just be cautious when you're printing your image on the paper. You don't want to carry your image out all the way to the edge, because if you do, then like I said, you're going to risk losing some of your images. But we'll go ahead and take that off. Okay? So that's what your tea bag looks like, and I think these measure 4 by 7. Four and a half. Actually, yes, 4.5 by 7. So there's your 4.5 by 7 tea bag that we're going to print on. Okay. These are, I have already printed, these are my patterns. We're going to work with the sunflower. See, here's the sunflower. I've developed a pattern with my measurements that you have to size the image to the measurement, and I'll show you how I do that. So here's the sunflower. This is the pumpkin, and there's my scale images for the pumpkin. And here's the corn and my scale images for the corn. And let me also say that I pulled these images from thegraphicsfairy.com. The majority of her images are copyright free, so we are not infringing on any copyright laws. That's important to know. These are copyright-free images. Okay? So let me take you over here to my printer. Hang on, I'll bring you down just a little bit. Okay. So my printer is a an HP OfficeJet 5252. So it's a 5200 series HP OfficeJet. Any printer will do fine. Mine has been very reliable as an HP. I have a combination printer, scanner, copier. But most any printer will do this for you. So let me pull up the images. I have saved them on my desktop, and we'll start with the sunflower. Okay, we'll start with the sunflower. Alright, let me turn you around just a little bit and bring you in. Okay, so I have downloaded the image from thegraphicsfairy.com, and I've saved it onto my computer desktop as a Microsoft Word file. So the way that you change the image size is you click on it, and then right click and go here where it says size and position. And I know that I need this image at a 100% scale, which is right here, with a width of 3.53, which you can see here, these drop downs. I don't know if you can see this, but the width is 3.53, and once you change either width or height, it changes the other, so just get it as close as you can. My height is 4.57 with 100% scale. Let's change that to 100%, so that puts the height at 4.57 and the width at 3.53. So we're going to say OK. Alright, and then you're going to go print your image on copy paper. Let me take you back just a minute. I need to tell you. Okay, so your supplies that you're going to need, of course, is your tea bag, Scotch tape, and copy paper. I use just a plain old piece of copy paper. You can use cardstock, you can print it on rice paper, but I just print mine on a standard piece of copy paper. Okay, so your supplies are copy paper, tape, the tea bags, and of course a computer and a printer. Okay, so we're going to print the sunflower. Alright. So I'm going to go up to File, Print, and you want to make sure that your settings are for color printing. You can do black and white, but I've chosen to do mine in color. I just really wanted to emphasize the actual colors in the sunflower, which already look real aged and antique and vintage. So I chose to leave that and then just blend that in with the stains on the tea bag. So make sure that you're set to color printing, and then just hit print. Make sure I got my paper in. We have paper. And just hit print to print your image. Uh-oh, we had it set on fax. Let's go back. File. Cancel. File. Print. Let's do the drop down and take it off of fax and onto printer. And then hit print. I think it's going to be time for me to purchase some ink soon. I've been doing a lot of printing. So I'm hoping we can get through this workshop with at least 3 of these 6 images. And again, what I do is keep, okay? And here's our image that just came out of the printer. Okay, what I do is just hold on to one for a pattern, and like I told you before, just write your scale markings here, okay, and just hold on to that for your pattern. And then what I do is take the tea bag, okay, sure about that lighting. So then I'll just take the tea bag and lay it right over the pattern, just like that. Hold on, I'm gonna take you around to the flat on my desk. Hang on, guys. Okay, so here's the sunflower that we just printed. Here's the tea bag. You're just going to lay your tea bag over your image, just like that. Okay, so we've got a good top border. We're not too close to the copy paper at the top, and we've got plenty of border around the bottom and the left and right. So you're just going to line your tea bag up on that image, and we're going to tape it down. And it does not matter which side of the tea bag you use at all. So just line that up. And I just tear a small piece of tape. I don't tape around the entire edge. I've never had a problem with it jamming. What I do focus on is that at the top where it's going to feed it through, I make sure I've got that corner. And what I do is try to put more Scotch tape on the paper, the copy paper, and less tape on the tea bag. I've never had a problem with it tearing when it's time to take it off, but let me get it on here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Again, this is the top. It's going to feed in from the top. So I just make sure that the top is laying down flat with no wrinkles so that it doesn't cause a jam with the printer. And we're going to go over here to this other corner. Less tape on the tea bag, more tape on the copy paper. Okay, let me show you what that looks like. So if you see, hold on. Okay, can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. I've got just a small amount of tape on the bag and more of the Scotch tape on the actual paper. Okay, and I put 3 pieces along that top edge. Okay, so see, we didn't put any there or any there. I've just got 3 pieces along that top edge. Okay, so we're going to go and put, I'll probably do maybe 3 pieces along the side and 1 at each corner on the bottom and 3 pieces along the other edge. Okay, let me take you back down. Like I said, I've printed a good many of these, and thank goodness I've never had an issue with it causing a jam to my printer. And hopefully it won't make a liar out of me when I print this one. What you do want to make sure, that needs to be a little bit bigger. What you do want to make sure is that on your corners, make sure, and I've got this tape covering the bottom corner, the bottom and the edge of that corner. So the tape is covering along here, and then it's covering the corner right there. I'll maybe put 1 piece of tape right here in the center, and we'll put 1 here on this corner. And we'll put a couple of pieces on this corner, on this edge. Again, more tape on the copy paper, less tape on the tea bag. Okay, so there we go. There is our image taped to your copy paper. Okay, we printed the image on the copy paper and we covered that image with the tea bag. Okay, so now we're gonna, let me flip you around to the printer. Oops, sorry about that. Hang on. Okay, so now we're going to run this through our printer. And I usually just take these pieces of paper out simply because I don't want to risk anything trying to stick together or double up or anything like that. So my printer, if you want to print on, this is the front. So if you want to print on the front, you've got to turn it to the back side. Okay, this is the top. So basically we're going to put it in like this, and it's going to feed it through the printer and come out like that. So we're going to put it face down, front face down, forward facing. And let's see what's going on. Push it all the way back, and then close the door. All right, and then you will hit print to print it on the tea bag. Fingers crossed. So far, so good. It's passing it right on through. We would have would have already had a jam by now if it were going to jam. Okay, there you have it. There is your sunflower printed on the tea bag. So what I do, let me take you back down. Hang on. So what I do is just very carefully pull the tea bag off of the copy paper. Usually what you can do is actually grab the the tape from its corner on the copy paper and just pull it very gentle. Okay, we got that one off. And then just kind of reach under the back. Well, you can actually do it, like I said, just run your finger along the corner of the piece of tape and pull it back very gently off of the copy paper. And I just usually go around and take it off of the copy paper first and then go back and remove the tape from the tea bag itself. And see how, if you get under the tape like I'm doing and just give it a tug gently and just follow the line of the tape with the copy paper, you won't have any problems with anything tearing. Okay, so here's the pattern. Okay, there's the pattern. And here is the tea bag with all the tape on it. So what I do is just grab it and it'll pull right off. You just follow the direction of the tape against the edge of the bag. And if it tears the edge of the bag, that's okay too. Some crafters prefer a torn edge, a torn look. I personally, when I'm crafting, I like to do a water tear of my edges because I don't want a perfectly straight edge to anything that I craft. But I'm going to tear this one so that you can see that it is possible to take that tape off without tearing the bag. And there is the image. Let me bring you up. There is your tea bag image printed on a beautiful sunflower printed on the tea bag. Okay, guys, that is, I'm going to go ahead and end the workshop with that one. We're already at 30 minutes. I think you get the idea of it. So I hope that you will give printing on tea bags a try. It is a beautiful piece of art that can be used to journal, decoupage onto jars, decoupage onto wood, most anything. So I'm going to end this workshop session, but I'll be printing the pumpkin and the corn. And again, like I said, as long as you get your patterns, and hang on. When you get your pattern, when you get it sized down to the size you want for your tea bag, you write down your width and height in your scale. Then all you're going to do is just tape your tea bag to your image, and then take that image, load it in your printer, and print it. And you have printed art on tea bags. Thanks for joining me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this Wednesday workshop, and we'll see you again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.